Do you want mini houses built in backyards next to you? Now, I'm not going to call these granny flats. This has been developing for a while. A little mini houses, and they're for more than grannies. They're seen by some to the answer to the housing crisis. As I understand it, they'll be able to build these little houses in the backyard, and you can have family members living in it. Now, I don't know whether that means, well, you could have kids, you could have parents. I don't know how far the family how far you define family, but rents are going up. There is nowhere near enough houses, and rents are obscene, in fact. People are desperate. In fact, the Herald Sun reports today we've only built 394 new pieces of social housing in 7 years. Housing's a mess. It's hurting people. Boroondara Council is fighting back. The state government's effectively said to 10 suburban areas where we'll stop the planning controls. You're going to cop 60,000 granny flats whether you want them or not, or mini houses. Boroondara says it'll stuff up the suburb, the amenity of the mood of the suburb. The council is going to fight it. Now, the other side, to steal the words of a departing MP, Matt Bark, says this is a bunch of privileged geriatrics governed by self-interest. The areas affected: Broadmeadows, Camberwell Junction, Chadstone, Epping, Frankston, Moorabbin, Niddrie North, Essendon, Preston, Ringwood. Well, are you a NIMBY? Do you want higher density living? Do you want these little mini houses in the backyard or not? 133 693. Good idea or not? Are they that bad? Do they change the community? Have you ever lived in one? Would you live in one? Would you want to build a little flat in the backyard for family members? Or would you be upset if there was one next to you? 133 693. Full disclosure, I used to live in a leafy eastern suburb, big blocks, big houses. Now, when I was living there, I must say, I wouldn't have wanted a flat over the backyard fence. However, I now live in a townhouse. 133 693. Are they that bad? Do they change the community? Will you resist it? Have you tried it? Does it work? I mean, if you're going to move, imagine you got 4 sons between 20 and 28 or something, you move them all into the backyard. It's a party house. On the line, Jonathan O'Brien. He's lead organiser for a group called YIMBY Melbourne. Yes, in my backyard. They support the proposition. Jonathan O'Brien, good morning.
Good morning, Neil. How you doing?
Okay, so we're talking about, including me, a bunch of privileged geriatrics holding the world back?
Well, it's certainly what Matt Back said on his outgoing speech.
What's your view?
My view is that we currently have a planning system that does privilege a certain number of voices, people who have time, people who have kind of the resources to navigate what is a really complicated system, a system that's really hard to navigate. And also there's no active voice, there's no active say for the people who want to live somewhere but can't because they've been priced out. Okay, so where do you come from? What's your position? Our position is on the granny flats, that allowing granny flats to be built within backyards, these are granny flats up to 60 square metres, allowing these to be built without a permit, but while still, of course, hitting all the building codes and so on, makes a lot of sense in a housing crisis. Makes a lot of sense where we've got folks, grannies, as is in the name, trying to downsize, but kind of unable to because the market is so insane right now because there just aren't enough homes. Allowing more housing choice for more people is, I think, a fundamentally good thing.
But as I understand it, family members could live in it, so it doesn't have to be grannies, it could be 4 yobbo sons.
I don't think it's going to be 4 yobbo sons.
Why not?
Because I think if there's 4 yobbo sons, they're probably living in the house rather than the 60 square metre granny flat.
2 yobbo sons.
2 yobbo sons. Look, if those sons were moving back home, if the parents are putting them in the granny flat, then it's probably a relatively nice granny flat. But again, it's 60 square metres. It's 1 story. If 2 yobbo sons want to live there, go for it.
But in all seriousness, if I've got a huge block in Camberwell, beautiful old house on it, big backyard, leafy gardens, trees, the lovely garden and the peaceful little garden, do I really want a granny flat, whether it's full of grannies or yobbos, just over the back fence?
I think the thing is that what we have to consider is that when you own property, when you own a piece of land, you own that land and you own the rights over that land. Now, that goes both ways, both in terms of I own the land, so I can build a granny flat here. Equally, I don't own my neighbour's land, and I probably shouldn't be able to stop someone from building something as low impact as a granny flat. Again, there's no overshadowing here. There's no huge issues.
Yeah, but hang on,
here,
that's inconsistent though. You're saying I can stop them building something that would overshadow, but I can't stop them building a granny flat.
I'm not actually saying that you can stop them building something overshadow. I'm saying that a granny flat is the lowest impact possible form of development. Yeah, but if we're not going to allow this, then we're not going to allow any development whatsoever.
It goes to neighbours' rights, though. As a neighbour, do you have a right to privacy in your backyard? Do you have a right to sunshine in your backyard? Well, you're saying you've got no rights over your neighbours.
I think you have to limit the rights of objection against the rights of someone to build on land that they fundamentally own.
Okay. And Burundara, do you think they'll have any luck taking on the government?
On the granny flats issue, I don't think so. It can be provisioned within sort of the Planning Environment Act. I think they can fight it, but I think that ultimately, and they probably know this, this is going to be something that's going to get gazetted, and it's going to happen.
I don't mean this offensively, but are you a millennial?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I just wonder if there's a bit of a generational thing here, you know, the millennial saying, let's get some houses, let's get people in, let's open up the houses, to the, well, as Matt Bark said, the privileged geriatric saying, hang on, leave me alone in my lovely house.
I think there is a generational element here because older people have their wealth locked in, right? They have their housing.
Yes.
Younger people don't. And younger people want an opportunity to get into the housing market, to have secure tenure, to have somewhere that they can live near their family and near their communities. One of the great things about granny flats is it allows continuity of community and family. Rather than having to, move if you want to downsize, then have to downsize 20 kilometres away.
Thank you very much, Jonathan O'Brien from a group called Yes in My Backyard. Burundara's in the forefront of this. They're going to fight it. It's a bloody boomers again. You've done it, boomers. You're causing trouble. Yeah, boomers have got the wealth and the properties. I guess the question is, are they entitled to live in them the way they wish? Do you have any rights over what your neighbour does? Well, if they make a noise with the yobbo sons you have,